The collective consciousness of the Loraxian High Council rippled with unease. For a species that had achieved interstellar harmony over 10,000 cycles, the appearance of an unknown vessel at the edge of their home system was unprecedented. Elder Vexor's crystalline appendages trembled slightly as the holographic projection materialized in the center of the council chamber. The object entered our outer sensor grid approximately 17 intervals ago, reported Science Director Zillith, her neural tendrils pulsing with cautious curiosity. It is unlike any vessel in our databases. The projection revealed a massive ship, angular and dark against the backdrop of stars. Where Loraxian vessels were elegant crystalline structures designed to channel cosmic energies efficiently, this ship was built like a predator, all sharp angles and armored plating. Protrusions that could only be weapon systems dotted its hull, and massive engines glowed with an energy signature the Loraxians had never encountered. "Has it transmitted any communication?" asked Elder Vexor. "None," Zal replied. "It maintains a steady course toward Lorax Prime, but its speed is controlled. If it intended immediate aggression, it could have arrived much sooner." Security Coordinator Nexus, always the most cautious of the Council members, pulsed with dark energy. "We should ready our defensive networks. This vessel is clearly designed for warfare." The concept was almost foreign to the Loraxians. While they maintained energy shields and basic defensive capabilities, they had evolved beyond internal conflict millennia ago. Their encounters with other spacefaring races had always been peaceful, founded on mutual respect and the exchange of knowledge. "I recommend we initiate contact," said Zill. "Our long-range sensors detect biological signatures aboard a new sentient species perhaps." After much deliberation, the Council agreed. A communication beam was directed toward the vessel, carrying universal mathematical sequences and peaceful imagery from the Loraxian homeworld. For nearly an hour, there was no response. Then suddenly the alien ship transmitted back. The message was simple text and audio in an unfamiliar language, accompanied by similar mathematical sequences. Their translation algorithms worked quickly, and soon the Council could understand the basics of the message. "Greetings from the United Earth Alliance vessel Defiance. We come in peace and seek diplomatic relations." Elder Vexor's consciousness brightened. "They respond with peace. This is fortunate." "I remain skeptical," Nexus countered. "The disconnect between their words and the design of their vessel is concerning." The Council debated further until reaching consensus. They would proceed with caution but optimism. They invited the vessel to establish orbit around their fourth moon, where a delegation could meet with them. The response was affirmative. As the ship, now identified as the UEA Defiance, approached the designated coordinates, Science Director Zillith proposed a deeper scan. "Our quantum resonance scanner can safely analyze their vessel without detection. It would provide valuable insight before physical contact." The Council approved. The scan was initiated, invisible waves of quantum energy washing over the human vessel, penetrating its hull and analyzing everything within. What the scan revealed sent waves of shock through the collective Loraxian consciousness. Zillith's neural tendrils flared with alarm as the data streamed into the Council chamber. "This cannot be correct," she whispered. "The vessel's primary purpose is indeed diplomatic, but its defensive and offensive capabilities are beyond comprehension." The holographic projection transformed, revealing layer upon layer of the human ship's internals. Massive railgun batteries capable of accelerating projectiles to relativistic speeds, antimatter warheads stored in heavily shielded compartments, targeting systems of incredible precision, armor capable of withstanding direct hits from weapons the Loraxians couldn't even conceptualize. "There's more," Zillith continued, her voice trembling. "Their propulsion system utilizes controlled fusion reactions, but they have backup systems involving the actual manipulation of space-time." Security Coordinator Nexus pulsed with alarm. "They could destroy our entire world with minimal effort, but why build such a vessel for diplomacy?" Elder Vexor questioned. "The resources alone." The scan data continued to reveal more startling information. The ship carried a crew of just over 300 humans, but data in their computer systems indicated a species numbering in the billions. Their historical databases spoke of thousands of years of warfare, technological development driven primarily by military necessity, concepts of deterrence, mutually assured destruction, and peace through strength pervaded their cultural and political thinking. Most disturbing was the contingency planning. The Defiance carried protocols for scenarios ranging from first contact to full-scale interstellar war. Every diplomatic overture was backed by carefully calculated military options. Even their medical facilities were designed to rapidly convert to trauma centers. The Loraxian Council fell into chaos. For a species that had evolved beyond conflict, the mentality represented by the human vessel was incomprehensible. How could a species simultaneously seek peace while preparing so thoroughly for war? "We must recall our invitation immediately," insisted Nexus. "This species represents an existential threat." "No," countered Elder Vexer. "Consider what our scan has revealed about their history. They evolved in constant conflict, yet they've unified their world and reached the stars. They approached with diplomacy first despite their capacity for destruction." The debate raged, but the decision was forced when the communication system indicated an incoming transmission from the Defiance. On the holographic projector appeared the image of a human female, her skin dark, her hair cropped short against her skull. She wore a uniform adorned with symbols of rank. "This is Captain Maya Chen of the UEA Defiance to Loraxian High Council. We've detected your scan of our vessel." The human's expression remained calm, but there was a new tension in her voice. "While we understand caution in first contact scenarios, I must inform you that deep scans without prior consent are considered provocative in human diplomatic protocol." The council chamber fell silent. They had believed their scan undetectable. However, the human captain continued, "In the interest of transparency and good faith, I am transmitting a complete technical overview of the Defiance. We have nothing to hide, though I imagine some of our defensive capabilities may seem excessive to a peaceful civilization such as yours." The data package that followed confirmed everything their scan had revealed, with additional context explaining the historical reasons for each system. The captain's final words before ending the transmission sent ripples of both fear and fascination through the Loraxian consciousness. "We come from a world where peace was never given, only earned through sacrifice. The Defiance is heavily armed not because we seek conflict, but because we have learned through painful experience to be prepared for it. We still hope to meet your delegation as planned, unless our nature has caused you to reconsider." The transmission ended, leaving the council in stunned silence. The humans knew they had been scanned, possessed technology to detect what should have been undetectable, and rather than reacting with hostility had responded with honesty. "They're waiting for our answer," Elder Vexer said quietly. Security Coordinator Nexus pulsed darkly. "How can we possibly meet with them? Their entire existence contradicts everything we believe about evolved civilizations." Science Director Zilith's neural tendrils had calmed somewhat as she processed the human data package. "Perhaps that is precisely why we must meet them. They are a paradox, a species that values peace yet excels at war. Their technological achievements are remarkable, driven by pressures we never faced." The council chamber hummed with nervous energy as the Loraxians faced a truth they had never considered. Their peaceful evolution might represent just one path to the stars. The humans had taken another route entirely, through conflict, competition, and constant preparation for threats. "We will proceed with the meeting," Elder Vexer finally declared, "but with additional precautions. This species challenges our fundamental understanding of sentient evolution. We must learn more." As the council adjourned to prepare for humanity's official arrival, the image of the Defiance remained projected in the chamber. A dark, powerful reminder that the universe was perhaps more complex and dangerous than the Loraxians had ever imagined. Understanding the impossible, humanity's shadow. In the 17 hours since the scan, the Loraxian analysis team had barely paused in their examination of the human data package. Science Director Zilith moved through the laboratory, her neural tendrils connecting intermittently with various information nodes. Each new discovery about humanity left her both disturbed and fascinated. "Their entire history is punctuated by conflict," she reported to the assembled council members. "Not just between nations or ideologies, but against their environment, against diseases, against limitations of their own biology." The holographic display showed a timeline of human development, highlighting how warfare had driven technological advancement. The domestication of horses led to cavalry, chemistry led to gunpowder, physics led to nuclear weapons, medicine evolved to treat battlefield injuries. Even their space program had roots in missile technology. Yet simultaneously, they created art of profound beauty, Zilith continued, changing the display to show human artistic achievements, music, literature, architecture. They built philosophical systems advocating peace while constructing ever more effective weapons. Elder Vexer absorbed this information with growing unease. How can such contradictions exist within one species? Their evolutionary path demanded it, explained Zilith. They were neither the strongest nor the fastest predators on their world. They survived through intelligence, cooperation, and tool use, including weapons. Security Coordinator Nexus pulsed with dark energy, and now they bring those weapons to our system. A communication alert interrupted them. The human diplomatic shuttle was approaching the designated meeting facility on the fourth moon. Unlike the immense Defiance, this smaller craft appeared minimally armed, though the Loraxians now understood that appearances could be deceiving. We cannot show fear, Elder Vexer decided. We will meet them with open minds despite our reservations. The Loraxian delegation arrived at the meeting facility first. Built centuries ago for astronomical observation, the dome structure had been hastily converted for diplomatic purposes. Through the transparent ceiling, the massive form of the Defiance was visible in orbit, a dark reminder of what they were facing. When the human shuttle landed, the Loraxians observed the disembarking party with intense curiosity. Captain Maya Chen led a group of 5 humans, each different in appearance, variations in skin tone, facial features, and body structure that suggested genetic diversity. They wore formal uniforms rather than protective gear, a gesture of trust that wasn't lost on the Loraxians. The humans stopped at the entrance to the dome, and Captain Chen stepped forward alone, hands visible and empty. On behalf of the United Earth Alliance, I thank you for hosting this historic meeting, she said, her voice translated through devices both sides now carried. We regret any alarm our vessel may have caused. The Defiance is a diplomatic ship with defensive capabilities reflective of the regions of space we have traversed to reach you. Elder Vexer moved forward, his crystalline form catching the light from the system's sun. We welcome you to Lorax, Captain Chen. Your vessel has indeed raised many questions among our people. The captain nodded. I imagine it would. Our scans indicate your civilization has evolved without the pressures that shaped humanity. You've achieved peace without first mastering war. Is such mastery necessary? Asked Zilith, unable to contain her curiosity. A different human stepped forward, older, with pale skin and facial hair white with age. Ambassador Dmitry Vyulov, he introduced himself. And to answer your question, for humanity it was, our home world was not kind. We competed with other intelligent species that are now extinct. We survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, plagues, and our own worst tendencies. The humans were invited further inside, and the formal meeting began. For hours, both species shared information about their histories, technologies, and cultures. The humans were forthright about their violent past, but emphasized how they had channeled that same determination into space exploration and diplomatic outreach. The Defiance represents the culmination of our philosophy, explained Captain Chen. We seek peaceful relations with all intelligent life, but we explore an unknown galaxy where not all species may share that goal. So you assume hostility as the baseline? Asked Nexus, his energy signature still pulsing with suspicion. Ambassador Vyulov shook his head. We hope for peace but prepare for its absence. Our history has taught us the cost of unpreparedness. As the meeting progressed, a third human, introduced as Dr. Amara Akafer, presented information on human scientific achievements unrelated to warfare. Medical breakthroughs, environmental restoration technologies, sustainable energy systems. We've learned to redirect our survival instincts toward collective challenges, she explained. Climate change, resource scarcity, disease, these became our enemies rather than each other. The Loraxians began to perceive a pattern in human development. Crisis driving innovation, competition spurring cooperation, the constant push against limitations. It was utterly different from their own evolutionary path, where harmony with their environment had led to gradual, peaceful advancement. During a recess, Elder Vexer conferred with his fellow council members. They are dangerous, yes, he acknowledged, but not in the way we initially feared. Their capacity for violence exists alongside a genuine desire for peaceful exchange. Their adaptability is remarkable, added Zilith. They faced evolutionary pressures we never encountered and developed strengths we never needed. Even Nexus had moderated his position somewhat. Their transparency suggests honesty, at least. They could have hidden their true nature but chose not to. When the meeting resumed, Captain Chen made an unexpected proposal. The United Earth Alliance would like to establish a permanent diplomatic presence in your system and extend an invitation for Lauraxian representatives to visit Earth. We believe both our civilizations would benefit from cultural and technological exchange. The proposal sparked hours of detailed negotiations. The humans accepted significant restrictions on their military presence while offering technological trades in medicine and sustainable energy. The Lauraxians, in turn, agreed to share their advanced quantum computing and matter manipulation techniques. By the time the first meeting concluded, the foundations of an alliance had been established, cautious, limited, but genuine. As the human delegation prepared to return to their shuttle, Elder Vexer approached Captain Chen privately. "Your species terrifies us," he admitted with characteristic Lauraxian directness. "Not merely your weapons, but the mentality behind them, the constant preparation for conflict, the assumption of threat." Captain Chen nodded slowly. "We terrify ourselves sometimes. Humanity's greatest struggle has always been with its own nature, yet you've channeled those same instincts toward exploration and diplomacy." "We've tried," she said. "We're still trying. The defiance represents both our fears and our hopes, our determination to survive and our desire to connect. We built her strong enough to endure whatever the universe might throw at us, but we filled her with scientists and diplomats instead of soldiers." Elder Vexer's crystalline form shimmered with new understanding. "Perhaps our species can learn from each other, your preparedness, our harmony." "I believe we can," Captain Chen replied. "That's why we came." As the human shuttle departed for the Defiance, the Lauraxian Council gathered again to process all they had learned. The massive human vessel remained in orbit, still triggering instinctive unease among the Lauraxians who observed it, but now they understood it represented something more complex than mere threat. It was the physical embodiment of humanity's paradoxical nature. "They built weapons because their world demanded it," Zilith reflected. "They mastered destruction to protect what they created. They prepare for war to preserve peace." "Can we trust such a species?" Nexus asked, less in opposition now than in genuine uncertainty. Elder Vexer considered the question carefully before responding. "Perhaps trust is not the correct framework. The humans don't ask us to trust them blindly. They've shown us exactly what they are, both their capacity for violence and their desire for cooperation. They ask only that we accept their nature as different from our own." In the laboratory below the council chamber, Lauraxian scientists had already begun studying the medical technologies the humans had shared. Others prepared for the journey to Earth, both excited and apprehensive about visiting a world shaped by conflict. The Defiance would remain in orbit for another 30 days before departing, leaving behind a smaller diplomatic vessel and taking a Lauraxian delegation back to Earth. In that time, both species would begin the complex process of building relations between civilizations that had evolved along radically different paths. As night fell on Lorax Prime, many citizens looked up at the stars, knowing that the dark form of the human vessel hung among them, powerful, dangerous, yet commanded by beings who had crossed the gulf between stars seeking connection rather than conquest. The universe had suddenly become a more complex place, filled with contradictions that challenged the Lauraxian worldview. And in her quarters aboard the Defiance, Captain Maya Chen recorded her log entry. "First contact successful. The Lauraxians are as peaceful as we hoped, though our nature clearly disturbs them. Perhaps this is the true purpose of our mission, not merely to find allies in space, but to see ourselves through alien eyes, to recognize both the shadow and the light we carry among the stars."